the development of Nigeria's human resources, financing small businesses the solution to its ongoing poverty and income inequality? We'll find out.
Statistics say poverty in Rwanda has declined significantly, but do the numbers match reality in the country?
And one of Africa's top events is back, and it's bigger and better than ever before. We'll show you how top brands and agencies are showing off their best designs. Africa 54 starts right now.
Hello and welcome to Africa 54. I'm Chamberlain Osawa, Channels Television here in Lagos. I'm joined by Esther Githuo-Iwe at Voice of America in Washington.
Thanks. I'm Esther Githuo-Iwe at our global headquarters in Washington, D.C. Happy to be with you again for another edition of Africa 54. We start off with a look at the World Bank and their take on inequality. Chamberlain Osawa in Lagos brings you that story.
Well, that's right. The country director of the World Bank, Professor Shubham Chowdhury, has identified the development of Nigeria's human resources and the financing of small businesses as the panacea to solving poverty and income inequality in the country. Speaking during a panel discussion at the Nigeria Economic Summit in Abuja, Professor Chowdhury explains that the gap between the rich and the poor in Nigeria has been on the increase and asks the government to increase efforts to address the challenge.
Economic inequality in Nigeria has reached extreme levels despite being the largest economy in Africa. Statistics shows that it has an expanding economy with an abundant human capital and the economic potential to lift millions out of poverty. The combined wealth of Nigeria's 5 richest men, which amounts to $29.9 billion, could end extreme poverty at the national level, yet 5 million face hunger. How to change this narrative formed the crux of discussion at the Economic Summit.
Inequality in outcomes versus inequality in opportunity. I think what keeps people kind of feeling that, look, there's a sense that they, as long as they have an opportunity to, strive if they work hard, that they will enjoy the kind of life they hope for, or that their kids will enjoy. That's the key. So I agree that inequality in outcomes do matter, that you don't want those to grow beyond, bound. But it's really about, do people feel like they have a shot at making their lives better, that their children will have a better life?
Suggestions were thereafter made on how the nation can get it right.
It's going to require collective action for us to move as a group, create a movement to take this country to the level that it deserves to be. If ever there was an example of that type of process, I think the Nigerian Economic Summit group example for me is evidence that it can be done.
After several hours of deliberations at various sessions and plenary, the 25th Economic Summit closes, but not without some words of commitment from the federal government to develop its human resource.
Government acknowledges the role of technical, vocational, and educational training, what TVET imparts on knowledge and skills to the citizens on the platform of cutting-edge technology. This is expected to enable us to contribute more meaningfully to development of the various sectors in our economy.
Nigerians will be looking forward to how resolutions reached here will translate into better governance, social inclusion, and socio-economic development of the country.
Speaking of inequality, one of the disadvantaged groups is women and girls. Some of the implications being a lack of inclusive education and poverty. Well, here now to talk about empowering girls to realize their full potential is Adeola Olunoyo, who is the founder of 40 for 40 Girls, an initiative working to empower out-of-school girls through skills acquisition and trade. Welcome to Africa 54, Adeola.
Thank you, Chamberlain.
I mean, it's been said repeatedly that to address that gender inequality, especially when it has to do with women and girls.
Yeah.
It helps foster economic growth and stability. From your perspective, how much impact do you think has been made in closing that gender gap?
Thank you very much. We are on our way in terms of making progress in terms of closing the gender inequality gap, but we still have a long way to go. In terms of achieving also the Sustainable Development Goals for Nigeria in particular, we need to close the gender gap in terms of giving opportunities for girls to access education, to access healthcare, and also access gainful employment at par with what their male counterparts are experiencing. So I think we have a long way to go in terms of closing that gap.
But, and speaking about that distance, 2030 is supposed to be a significant year.
Yes.
And then some cultures in the African society, well, they're unique in their own way.
Yeah.
But how much of a challenge is or can culture be in bridging this gap?
Culture, I think, has always favored men over women, especially in a patriarchal society like Nigeria. For instance, we still have a high rate of early marriage. A lot of girls are pulled out of school to be married off, and as a result, they don't complete their education. And that invariably affects their ability to be able to compete with other girls who are more educated. And of course, culture still expects that women should not aspire or be as ambitious as men will be, because men are supposed to be the head of households. But I would say that we've made a bit of some progress in terms of women also breaking through in the workspace and in political appointments. But we're growing we're going slowly, and we should propel the government and all stakeholders, to move faster, because I think women have a lot to contribute to the prosperity and sustainable development of our country.
And it turns out you happen to be one of those who are doing something about some of these. You've chosen out-of-school girls.
Yes.
What impacts and how you succeeded?
Well, I'm turning 40 on December 1st, and because I've been given, and thank you very much, at age 17, I was given an opportunity as an adolescent to work in an NGO that was focused on youth health and development. And thankfully, because of that strong foundation and opportunities and exposure that I had, I've been able to build a successful career in the public health sector. And over the past 23 years, I've realized that the situation of girls is not improving as it should. So because I'm celebrating my 40th birthday, I came up with the concept of 40 for 40 girls to pick 40 girls from slum areas in Lagos and empower them with livelihood skills. And I'm choosing out-of-school girls because many of them are dropouts. They didn't finish their secondary school. They're dealing with poverty. Some of them are single mothers, and they're sexually exploited or abused and do not have a voice. So because of the passion that I have for them, I've decided to invest back, select 40 of them. In fact, currently I'm graduating 44 girls to learn different livelihood skills such as wig making, makeup and gele making, catering and baking, and also household cleaning agents. Yeah. So based on that, they'll be able to earn an income. They'll be able to turn around their situation, be able to feed their families, feed their children, and also aspire to probably complete their school education in the future.
So from your own experience now, what challenges did you identify as the key impediments to getting women and children out of that cycle of poverty?
I think the first and common thing among these girls is that they all come from broken homes. Their parents are no longer together, or they are living with a guardian or a caregiver, or their parents are passed on, or do not even have enough money to help them, to move up in life. And many of them also, like I said, did not finish secondary school, so they don't even have the prerequisites to compete for gainful employment. And there's a high rate of early sexual debut, there's a high rate of sexual activity, there's a high rate of transactional sex, because they have to survive, any way they can. If we can address some of these issues to be able to give them exposure, give them opportunities, and empower them with information to protect themselves, and of course give them economic empowerment to be able to earn an income, then it reduces their risk of all of these things that I've mentioned.
All right, Adeola Olunayo, the founder for 40 for 40 Girls. Thank you for coming on Africa 54, and well done. Good to see that you're keeping up with that.
Thank you, Chamberlain.